My brother-in-law is hosting a gender reveal party for his first child. Let's call my brother-in-law Sam. I'll be using fake names. So Sam invited my fiancé Dean, again, fictional name. Yes, I'm using supernatural characters because I have no creativity, LOL, and told him I should be his +1. Okay, nothing wrong with that. I thought it was a bit odd because the invite said the following. Every guest and their +1s must each bring gifts to the party. Yours is medium diapers, 108 pants or more, plus a gift to mom and dad. The sheer audacity of asking mom and dad for a gift and not the baby. Moving on. The invite didn't say a word about the dress code, so I thought of wearing business casual, which is what I wear on a daily basis. It wasn't until yesterday I found out Sam and his girlfriend wanted all the invitees to wear all white. I freaked out because Dean, my fiancé, has an old all-white formal attire he's borrowing from his dad, but my family in general just hates white clothes, so obviously I had nothing, not even a shirt. I asked Sam if it's okay if I choose to wear a jumpsuit and showed him a picture I'll attach here. The style is pretty close to what I wear on a daily basis, so I thought maybe I could pair this with black, or maybe choose a color to go with it and use it afterwards. Sam loved it and immediately said yes. Not even 20 minutes go by and my mother-in-law pulls me aside and says, I wouldn't waste any money if I were you. Sam and his girlfriend Berta want us to wear all white because they are planning on spray painting the guests with blue or pink. Depends on the gender. I'm considering what to wear also because I don't want any of my clothes ruined, especially because I would wear a thing or two I use in court sessions, so please be mindful about that. My mother-in-law is an attorney. I had no idea that was his plan. Dean told me I was being inconsiderate for saying I was going to wear black if they refused to let me out of this paint mess. My mother-in-law stood by my side and said she wouldn't be wearing white either if I wasn't comfortable, since she wasn't very comfortable herself, and that she would wear all black with me. They didn't inform the guests that they are planning to ruin everyone's outfit, so my mother-in-law is basically telling everyone she cannot to spend a ton of money on their outfits and Sam's plans. I personally asked Sam if I could be left out of the paint thing, and he seemed offended and refused. I asked again, saying my mother-in-law wasn't comfortable with his idea either, and he said, "Fsec, both of you, this is my party. Why can't you just do this one silly thing to cheer me up?" I replied, well, we'd both gladly go shopping together for some nice jumpsuit or a basic dress, but since my mother-in-law isn't happy nor comfortable with it, I thought about asking you if we could please be left out of the paint prank. And to my surprise, he answered, "Wow. I'm glad the two of you B1T cheese agree to ruin mine and Berta's day." I just said, "Bro, this is a gender reveal, not a wedding, and I don't see why you're being so rude to me when you are always so nice. It makes no effing sense. But that's okay if you want to play the Dadzilla role. Have fun at your day, not your future kid's day. Your day." And left. This party is happening next Sunday, 4/28. I don't know if I should just stay home and call it a day to avoid conflict, or if I should go anyway. I also don't know if I'm being a jerk for not wanting to spend about $100 on a jumpsuit, to wear it only once and throw it away. I won't ask what his girlfriend thinks because 1, I don't want to risk pissing off a pregnant woman 2. They've been together for 5 months, she's pregnant for 4 months, so I barely know her. She's not a talker also, which doesn't help at all. I don't know if I'm being the a-hole here for not wanting to spend on a new outfit. Just for it to be ruined, plus the diapers, plus the gifts for Sam and his girlfriend, I barely know. Just for context. Me. I'm 26 years old and female. My mother-in-law isn't Sam's biological mother. She just married Sam's father. Dean isn't his biological brother either, and his mom is my mother-in-law. Am I the idiot? Update. Since a lot of you are asking, Sam is 25 years old. The random girly pop I don't know seems younger, perhaps 22 years old or something. Update #2. The day before yesterday was Sam's biological brother's birthday, so we all did a small family gathering, and there was the happy couple. I've told Dean, fiancé, about Sam's rudeness with me and his mom, and he lost it, but told me he would confront him in person because confronting via text or call was just way too childish. Don't expect Dean's best behavior from now on. Let's call the birthday boy Adam. Dean waited until the party was basically over and asked Adam if he knew about this buffoonery, and he disagreed. Dean tells Adam isn't happy about it. Meanwhile, I'm talking to my mother-in-law and she was telling me she doesn't know what to do because they're going to receive lots of lawsuits. Then I asked her about where the spray paint is and she says it's at random girl's house. I suggest my mother-in-law picking all that up and saying she would be responsible for taking it to the party because, allegedly, she wants nothing but the best at this party. She sees where I'm going and goes after random girl, I mean Bertha. Some random miracle occurs and Bertha agrees to leave all the spray paint bottles at my mother-in-law's house. How sweet is my mother-in-law? Before Dean could confront Sam, I asked him again, only to know that this time the happy couple had a good old fight. Sam told me I could wear all black and Bertha could take it because she wanted to follow tradition, which is the guests wearing white. I've never heard such nonsense. My only response was, "Oh, I see, thank you." When I see Dean again, I tell him to chill. Everything is fixed by me and my mother-in-law. I also ask him to please play the dumb guy and say nothing. I would update him on our way home. He agrees. I told Dean what we've done and he couldn't stop laughing. He told me he was going to wear all black too because that's what he feels more comfortable in. I woke up with a text from my mother-in-law yesterday saying, "I got the paint. In the trash they belong, so that's where it's at. I swear to God, you guys may have mother-in-laws from hell, but mine is just as chaotic as I am, and I love this." I invited her for dinner and drinks, a girls' night, so we could update each other, and she agrees. If something important comes up, but I guess most of it is already here. I suggested my mother-in-law and Dean that we all go to the same baby stuff store and get ourselves a gift card as a gift for Mom and Dad. I don't see a reason to say, "Hey, congrats on having unprotected intimacy and now having to deal with the consequences of your actions. Here's a Louis Vuitton bag to congratulate you on that." The gift should go to the baby. This poor child has no blame for their parents being irresponsible, so that's what we are doing. Baby goods store gift cards. I'm attending because I want to have a good laughter at it later. I'll bring you more boiling hot tea soon. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I hate gender reveals with the fire of 1,000 suns. Every time I start to cool down a bit on the issue, I read something like this. We need to start issuing permits for people who want to reproduce. And if you mention gender reveal in the application, it's an automatic denial. Comment 2, just don't go. This whole thing has shit show written all over it. Who brings gifts to a gender reveal? That's what baby showers are for. And the parents set up a registry, rather than demand specific gifts. Sam sounds like a train wreck. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks so much for all your comments and support on my last post. It's been a busy month since then, and I've got quite the update for you. So the gender reveal party finally happened last Sunday, and let me tell you, it was a complete disaster. When we arrived, Sam and Bertha were already in a foul mood because they couldn't find the spray paint they had planned to use on the guests. Little did they know, my amazing mother-in-law had already taken care of that problem by tossing the paint in the trash where it belonged. As the party went on, the tension between Sam and Bertha was obvious. They kept bickering and snapping at each other over the smallest things. It turns out their relationship had been on the rocks for a while now. Apparently, Bertha had been hiding a secret from Sam. She wasn't actually pregnant with his child. She had been seeing another guy on the side and had gotten pregnant by him instead. When Sam found out about this, he was absolutely devastated. He confronted Bertha in front of everyone at the party, and it quickly turned into a huge screaming match. Bertha tried to defend herself, saying that she had only cheated because Sam was always too busy with work to pay attention to her. But Sam wasn't having any of it. He told her to pack her things and get out of his life for good. As if that wasn't enough drama, Sam's ex-girlfriend from high school showed up out of nowhere. Turns out she had been invited by Bertha in an attempt to make Sam jealous. But instead of causing more problems, the ex actually ended up being a huge support for Sam during this difficult time. She listened to him vent about everything that had happened and offered some much-needed words of encouragement. In the end, the gender reveal party was a complete bust. There was no baby to celebrate, and the couple of honor had broken up in front of everyone. But despite all the chaos, there was a silver lining. Sam realized that he had been neglecting his relationships with his family and friends in favor of his toxic relationship with Bertha. He apologized to me and my mother-in-law for his behavior and promised to make more of an effort to stay connected with us going forward. As for me and Dean, we ended up having a great time at the party, despite everything that happened. We bonded with Sam's ex-girlfriend and even made plans to hang out with her again in the future. And of course, we had a good laugh about the whole spray paint fiasco with my mother-in-law afterwards. Looking back, I realized that this whole experience has taught me a valuable lesson about the importance of surrounding yourself with people who truly care about you. Sam may have made some mistakes, but at the end of the day, he has a family who loves and supports him no matter what. And that's something to be grateful for. Anyway, that's all the tea I've got for now. Thanks again for all your advice and kind words. It really means a lot to me. Until next time. My parents sent me away to make room for my new sisters. So I recorded their cruel words and played it at the family reunion for everyone to hear. I, 14-year-old boy, was kind of raised by committee. My parents paid for various daycares, camps, and then boarding schools, and in return didn't have to have me stay with them as far back as I can remember. Most weren't bad or anything, and I'm sure they meant well. I'm just really sensitive, and my love languages veer hard towards touch and praise, so I'm still working on having gifts like being sent to camp really hit right as affection. I was never homesick or anything because I didn't have a home to be sick for. But it wasn't the best time. Anyway, 2 years ago, my parents got really into the idea of being parents. They took in and then adopted my sisters Merida, 14-year-old girl, having been in foster care, and Melissa, 13-year-old girl, who was orphaned at a young age and has been the ward of several members of our family. She's fully adopted to us now, don't worry. I'll be sending her stupid puns until I die. Then I'll just haunt her and say them to her face. I was brought back and told I wouldn't be returning to boarding school. They wanted me there to bond with my sisters and make sure they were completely cemented into our family. They were really happy about how exciting and sweet it would be to be a family all together. And it's been amazing. I admit this is more like living with distant relatives who happen to be my parents than any great world-changing familial love I was hoping for. But it's still there. Yesterday, they told me they want to send me to an 8-week camp and then a boarding school. They said it was because the house just felt too crowded and they wanted time to focus on my sisters, and that anyway, I was too spoiled and entitled and could make them feel less sure of themselves. I asked when, and they said that it wasn't anything I had done exactly. I was just the oldest plus a boy plus their biological child, so I could make them feel insecure by accident. I snapped that I felt pretty insecure too after not being raised by them and they don't mollycoddle me about it. And they got really serious. They said that I knew nothing of loneliness, that my sisters had suffered horribly while I was becoming an entitled, spoiled brat. They're not wrong. While Melissa was repeatedly abandoned by our family and Merida was in foster care, I had a really easy life. I was never a ward of the state or sleeping on a stranger's couch or anything. I just don't want to leave home again because it kind of feels like I'll be leaving my family being socially disowned, which I know is irrational, especially since my sisters are way better at texting, talking on the phone than my parents. But it feels like they should at least try to comfort me for 10 minutes. It feels like I'll never come home again until I'm an adult, and by then I'll have no real claim at all on their affection. Anyway, this whole mess dissolved like they always do. I objected, they started upping their threats. I pleaded and then threw a fit. Mature, I know. They just talked to me, I'm off school for a bad fever, and affirmed that I have no say in this. Here's where I absolutely screwed up. I said that my sisters aren't the only ones who've ever suffered, and I said that my parents only loved my sisters because it made them feel good about themselves. My sisters definitely heard that, and I'm so scared I hurt them. They don't have any part in this. But I'm not sure if I'm the AH for questioning my parents' motives to their face. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Didn't foster care, adoption agency, or social workers talk to you at all? Heck, my first adoption social worker interviewed my elementary-age child. In the second adoption, the social worker talked to my 3-year-old and other children twice. I've never heard of an adoption in the US where the other children in the home are not interviewed multiple times, and the child's opinion is not considered in the placement. I'm also confused as to why a child care advocate would consider your parents as adoptive parents, when your folks have a child that they ignore and don't parent, unless this is another country or a disreputable adoption. Comment 2. I hate to say this, but your parents don't love you. They are horrendous parents and people. They should have those other kids taken away and don't deserve to have you in their house. Walk away from them and never look back once you are an adult. Plan now. Take up part-time jobs or whatever you can to earn money. Get away from those vile monsters ASAP. Thankfully, they are making it easier to break the ties by continually sending you away. I expect that in a few years, there will be a Reddit thread by them wondering why their ungrateful son doesn't visit them. And the answer is that they are scum. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, it's been a while since my last post, and a lot has happened in the past few days. After my outburst about my parents only loving my sisters to feel good about themselves, things got really tense at home. Merida and Melissa barely spoke to me, and I could tell they were hurt by what I said. I felt awful and tried to apologize, but they just brushed me off. My parents were furious with me and said I was being selfish and ungrateful. The next day, my mom sat me down for a talk. She told me that she and my dad had been discussing sending me away for a while now, even before they decided to adopt my sisters. They felt like I needed more structure and discipline in my life, and that boarding school would be good for me. I was shocked and angry. I couldn't believe they had been planning this behind my back. I tried to argue with them, but it was no use. They had already made up their minds. I was going to be sent away to camp for 8 weeks, and then straight to boarding school after that. I felt like my world was falling apart. I had finally started to feel like I had a real family, and now it was all being taken away from me. The day before I was supposed to leave for camp, I overheard my parents talking in the kitchen. They were discussing how much easier things would be once I was gone and how they could focus all their attention on my sisters. It hurt to hear them say those things, but it also made me realize something. My parents had never really wanted me around. They had always seen me as a burden, something to be shipped off and dealt with later. I confronted them about it later that night. I told them how much it hurt to hear them say those things, and how I felt like they had never really loved me. They tried to deny it at first, but eventually my dad admitted that they had always struggled to connect with me. He said that they had never really known how to be parents to me, and that they had always felt like they were failing me. It was a painful conversation, but it also felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. For the first time, I felt like I understood why my parents had always been so distant with me. It wasn't because they didn't love me, but because they didn't know how to show it. The next morning, as I was packing my bags for camp, my sisters came into my room. They told me that they had overheard my conversation with our parents the night before, and that they were sorry for how they had been treating me. They said that they understood now why I had been so upset, and that they didn't blame me for what I had said. We spent the rest of the morning talking and crying together. It felt like we were finally starting to understand each other, and to see each other as real siblings, not just strangers living under the same roof. As I got ready to leave for camp, my parents came to say goodbye. They both hugged me and told me that they loved me, and that they were sorry for how they had treated me in the past. They promised to do better in the future, and to try to be the parents I deserved. I left for camp feeling a mix of emotions. I was still angry and hurt by everything that had happened, but I also felt a sense of hope. Maybe this time away would be good for me and for my family. Maybe we could all learn and grow from this experience and come out stronger on the other side. Thanks for reading, everyone. I'll try to update again soon. My ex-boyfriend ditches me for his sick. Mom and I mock him, but when he publicly humiliates me, I plot the ultimate comeback and make him beg for forgiveness. Sorry for the throwaway, but I will try and make it quick. My friend Jenna, who is 28 years old, had a boyfriend named Mike, who is also 28 years old. Skipping all the backstory, Jenna broke up with Mike 5 months ago. We all advised her against it because Mike was the perfect boyfriend. Even Jenna herself didn't have complaints about him. The reason she broke up with him was also stupid. She broke up with him just because he was taking care of his elderly mother with cancer, and she felt he was spending too much time with his mother. We are 6 people in our friend group, and all of us basically begged her not to break up with Mike, but she didn't listen. I am not in love with Mike, but I will be honest and say if any boyfriend in my future treats me half as good as Mike treated Jenna, I will be as happy as can be. The last 5 months, Jenna has been going on dates and constantly bitching and moaning that nobody is treating her right. All the guys she has gone out with are acting like children and not men. We told her she gave up something half of us would unalive for, but she didn't listen. Now she has to deal with the consequences and watch from afar when Mike finds someone else and treats her right. 3 nights ago, our whole friend group went out and ran into Mike at a bar. He was having some drinks with his friends. The whole night, Jenna couldn't stop looking at Mike and asked us if he would give her another chance. I was honest with her and told her no. I don't think he would. But some of our other friends encouraged her to ask him for a second chance. The night went on, and somehow the 2 friend groups mixed, and we were having drinks together. That is when Jenna, in front of everyone, asked Mike if he would be willing to give her another chance. She was sorry for throwing him away and didn't see what she had until she didn't have it anymore. Mike looked at her for a couple of seconds and said something similar to the Thanos line. It was brutal, and it was like a movie scene. He said something like, "So you can't live with the failure of your own decision, and now it has brought you back to me." He then just continued with his conversation with Jack. I couldn't contain my laughter when it happened and busted out laughing. The next moment, Jenna ran out of the bar. She has been crying for the last 3 days and refuses to talk to me. Even our friends are calling me in a hole for laughing. I couldn't help it. Everything was perfect. Although she is my friend, she didn't take my advice for the second time now when it came to Mike. She basically got what she was asking for. Am I the idiot? Edit. I see this come up a lot. I didn't stand up and laugh in Jenna's face. I didn't laugh at her or yell, "I told you so." Nothing like that. I laughed at what Mike said. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You could not live with your failure, and where did it bring you? Back to me. Not the idiot. She made a very foolish decision. Mike sounds like a real catch, and he deserves somebody better. She showed a remarkable level of pettiness and is clearly not a good partner. Comment 2. Not the idiot. I don't have much sympathy for someone who dumps a boyfriend for not spending enough time with her, because he is caring for his mother who has cancer. Someone like him would never take her back because he is a decent human being, and she isn't. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the comments on my last post. It's been a wild couple of weeks since then, and I've got some updates for you. So, a few days after the whole bar incident, Jenna finally reached out to me. She apologized for giving me the cold shoulder and admitted that she was just embarrassed and hurt by what happened with Mike. We had a long heart-to-heart, and she opened up about how she's been feeling lost and confused ever since the breakup. She said that seeing Mike that night made her realize just how much she missed him and how much she regretted ending things. I listened and tried to be supportive, but I also reminded her that she can't just expect Mike to take her back after everything that's happened. She seemed to understand, but I could tell she was still holding out hope. A week later, our friend group decided to have a movie night at Jack's place. We were all settling in when there was a knock at the door. Jack went to answer it, and to everyone's surprise, it was Mike. Apparently, Jack had invited him without telling anyone. The room got super awkward real quick, especially when Mike and Jenna made eye contact. But Mike was cool about it and just said he was there to hang out with his friends. We all tried to act normal, but you could cut the tension with a knife. As the night went on, I noticed that Mike and Jenna were stealing glances at each other when they thought no one was looking. It was like they both wanted to say something but didn't know how. Finally, during a lull in the movie, Mike asked Jenna if they could talk privately. They stepped outside, and the rest of us tried not to eavesdrop. Okay, maybe we did a little. When they came back in, Jenna looked like she had been crying, but she also had a small smile on her face. Mike looked pretty serious, but he didn't seem angry. Later, Jenna told me that they had a really honest conversation about their relationship and why things ended. She apologized for how she handled everything and told him that she still had feelings for him. Mike said he appreciated her apology, but that he needed time to think about things. Over the next week, Jenna was a nervous wreck waiting to hear from Mike. She kept checking her phone every 5 minutes and analyzing every text message for hidden meanings. It was driving her and the rest of us crazy. Finally, Mike reached out and asked Jenna to meet up for coffee. She came back from their meeting with a huge grin on her face. Apparently, Mike had told her that he still cared about her and wanted to try again, but he wanted to take things slow. Jenna agreed, and they decided to start dating casually and see where things went. It's been a few days since then, and so far, things seem to be going well. Jenna is trying not to get too ahead of herself, but I can tell she's really happy. As for me, I'm just glad that all the drama is over. For now, at least. Looking back, I think this whole situation has taught us all a lot about relationships and communication. Jenna realized that she needs to be more honest about her feelings and not take people for granted. And I think we all learned that sometimes people deserve a second chance. Anyway, that's all the updates I have for now. Thanks for reading, and I'll keep you all posted if anything else happens. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day. Have a great